For Wheeling University Athletics, I'm Zach Ziegler. It's time for the first edition of the Ken Pape Show, currently joined by new Wheeling University head women's rugby coach Ken Pape. And Ken, first of all, welcome here to Wheeling. Talk a little bit about your journey to Wheeling and kind of how you got the head coaching job.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me for our first ever show. The entire experience has been incredible. I've never been to an institution that's been this supportive of the sport. When I interviewed with Miss Hannah, we had a really long conversation, setting expectations, and on both sides, right? It wasn't just me saying, "Oh, I want this." I wanted to also make sure that I was meeting her expectations, and it's just been a great, kind of partnership between the two of us and the organization. Like I said, I've never been part of a program that's been this supported by its university, and just everyone from yourself and Miss Hannah and the folks up at admissions and financial aid, everyone's super excited that we're here, and it's just been a kind of like a love fest. And I'm just waiting for the burst, the bubble to burst, but I don't think it's going to. It's been just an absolutely amazing ride so far.
And for you have a lot of coaching experience in your career. You've built programs from the ground up. Talk about your coaching history and kind of your experience coming into this job.
Yeah, it's great. I was a player, for over 20 years, and a guy that I was playing with approached me and said, "Hey, my sister-in-law's team just lost their head coach. Would you be willing to go fill in for a little bit?" And that was at Rutgers. And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." And I fell in love with the sport as a coach. Fell in love, right? Because I've always loved the game. Coached them for 4 years. Had a really good leadership group. Ashley Allen and Kristen Ciano and just Miranda Privet, just amazing people that are still a part of my life. And then Colby Sawyer had a head coaching position available, NCAA varsity program, and interviewed up there and loved it. Went up there and fell in love with. I love the cold. I did. I don't anymore. Fell in love with it up there. Had some really good leaders, Marilyn Holler, Vic. Just really solid players, and I left that program when they started the women's program at Lander. Was up there for 4 years. So I was at 4 years at Rutgers, 4 years at Colby Sawyer, and then went down to Lander. The program had started, but they were really looking to kind of bolster it. Went down there, was there for 4 years, made some incredible friends, and just Bailey Burt, Jess Burt, Julia Anhalt, Abby Melton, people like that, and built an amazing program. Went to the national championship game last year, lost, just like everybody else did to Davenport. And then this opportunity came up. When I met with Miss Hannah, I've known Mike Geibel just forever, and he said, "Hey, you got to come check this out." And when we met with Miss Hannah, it's been awesome.
And obviously our Cardinals fans know a lot about the men's rugby side. They won a national championship last year. What can they expect now from the women's side of the game in terms of playing style and maybe some differences between the men's game and the women's game?
Yeah, that's a really common question that comes up is like, what's going to be the difference between the men and the women? The men's team here is phenomenal. They're just so skilled and fast. What you'll see with our program is the hardest hitting defensive team that you've ever seen. The men's defense here is terrific, but our defense is just going to be next level. We don't miss tackles. We hit hard. When teams leave us after playing us, whether they've won or lost, they always say that we're going to be the hardest hitting team, and that's what we're going to be known for. We're really excited about the players that are coming in. I've coached them before, and just the power that we will generate through our strength and conditioning programs and things like that, and their actual development of their tackling skills. The fans are going to come in and they're going to see a hit show. Scoring is cool, but when you see somebody just get absolutely obliterated by one of our players, they're gonna fall in love with us. They're just going to want to come to all of our games and be real supportive, I think.
Currently joined by new Wheeling University head women's rugby coach Ken Pape. And Ken, you make some history as soon as you guys take the field for the first time. The first time the women's rugby program has been a varsity program, had a club program before. For you, what's that like to be able to be a pioneer in this women's rugby field as you guys go for your varsity season?
Well, one of my mentors, is Billy Bean from the Oakland A's. He's built things from the ground up, and I take a lot of my pages from his book, and just being able to be in charge of setting everything up, from the schedule to the designing of the uniforms to the fan experience, things like this, the coaches show. It's actually, I might get a little emotional. It's actually incredible. I love this part of it, building the roster exactly the way I want it so that I can do the attack systems that I want to run and the defense systems I get to run, and building, a practice schedule and a practice plan that's, season long, and, developing recruiting plans for the next 3 years, and, managing the budgets and making sure that we're being fiscally responsible while, also putting an amazing product on the field. This is the coolest part of the job, and why I love doing this. I love building programs. I like puzzles. This is a puzzle. I got to put the puzzle pieces together.
And looking at your recruiting class coming up, talk about some of the kids you're recruiting and kind of the culture you're trying to build here with women's rugby.
So as far as culture goes, I'm a big John Gordon fan. Amazing motivational speaker, but has created a few books that I've really fell in love with. The culture we're going to build is going to be no complaining, and really just no energy vampires, which are people that are always like, oh, negative. The culture we're going to create here is just one of positivity and upbringing each other. And if you're having a bad day, being able to identify that in the pre-practice, but once practice starts, you're switched on. And the same thing with games. We're going to be so well prepared that emotion will be taken out of it. So the culture of the team, we do family dinners every Friday. We have family game night. So every Friday night we'll have dinner, and then afterwards we'll do a bit of team bonding. The team gets very close very quickly. So that's kind of the culture that we're looking to build, and I'm pretty confident we'll get there. As far as the players coming in, it's incredible the amount of outpouring of kids that have reached out. And, I've sifted through this morning just about like 60 emails, of players that are, interested. And that's for 24 and 25. It's, I haven't even really had a chance to open up those emails yet. So it's just been great. The players we've got coming in, I'm not real big on calling any individual player out, but I will just tell you that I can promise you that we will be competitive immediately.
And finally, talk about your excitement to just get out there and start practicing with this team and getting ready for this first inaugural season.
Yeah, we're going to call it the Rugby Purge. Okay, so you've seen the movie The Purge, murder, death, kill. That's kind of be our way of life here. A lot of people aren't giving us a ton of credit just yet, and that's fine. I love being the underdog. I was the underdog last year. The team of the players that are coming here were underdogs last year. We're going to be underdogs this year, and I'm good with that. I'm really good with that, because the opening kickoff can't come soon enough. The opening practice, handing them their kit for the first time, getting into our locker room. I've never had a locker room before. This is now we've got a locker room, getting into the locker room for the first time, seeing their faces for the first time when they open up the door and they see their locker and they've got their kit just laid out in front of them. That's what does it for me is seeing the athletic experience, seeing the athletes and enjoying their happiness. But that first practice, we're going to be tackling day one. I know it's going to get rough. It's going to get rough. And then game one, I feel bad for whoever that opponent is. I know who it is. We haven't released it yet. I feel awful for them. It's not going to be a good day for them. We're going to come out and the Rugby Purge is real.
Thanks, Ken. Good luck in your first season. Can't wait to see you guys take the field.
Thank you very much. I'm really excited.
For Wheeling University Athletics, I'm Zach Ziegler.